585.
And in my playbook tonight, I think Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner has got a story to tell. And so does the House Oversight Committee, because they want him to testify about his time when he was the head of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. We found out yesterday that while Geithner was in charge, the New York Fed told insurance giant AIG to keep quiet about overpaying Wall Street firms using their taxpayer-funded bailout money. That information came to light after emails between AIG and the Fed were made public. Now, former New York Governor Eliot Spitzer thinks there is more skeletons in AIG's closet. He's pushing for full disclosure of the company's emails, accounting documents, and financial models from the last 10 years. Governor Spitzer joining us tonight here on The Ed Show. Governor, good to have you with us.
Thank you, Ed. Always great to be here.
I want to play this piece of tape first because it came up at the White House briefing today. This is Robert Gibbs somewhat defending Tim Geithner. Here it is.
Secretary Geithner was not involved in any of these emails. These decisions did not raise to his level at the Fed. These are emails and decisions made by officials at a independent regulatory agency.
How do you know that he wasn't involved? He was a leader of the New York Fed. So.
Right, but he wasn't on the emails that have been talked about and wasn't party to the decision that was being made.
Now, Eliot, you're a prosecutor. I mean, the White House is on record now. This is pretty dangerous territory if they're wrong, isn't it?
Well, yes, and I'm a little surprised he was making such definitive statements about Tim Geithner's involvement or lack of involvement, because, frankly, nobody knows until they've parsed through all those emails and gone through all the communications at the New York Fed. What many of us have been saying for quite some time right now is that AIG is the center of the web of the entire economic cataclysm on Wall Street, and the only way to understand what happened is to go through those emails. The amazing thing, Ed, is we own the company. Taxpayers own the company. It is our right to understand what is being done with our money, what happened, what led to this cataclysm, and only from that will we understand what did Tim Geithner do. The New York Fed was instrumental in creating the structure that failed. Tim Geithner was the president of the Fed. You go back to who chose him to be there. It was the heads, the leaders of the New York investment banks that have benefited from the bailout. So many questions are there. Let's not jump to conclusions, but I can tell you with one thing with absolute certainty, until we get every one of those emails, we will not know. We own the company, release the emails. The Congress should be demanding this right now. I don't know why the Senate committees, the House committees have not sent a subpoena over to the company for every email. The company should waive all the privileges. It is our privilege as taxpayers. Let us understand where our tax dollars have gone.
There is such a division between the middle class and Wall Street in this country. This is a politically charged story for the White House. Where do you see the president in all of this? How forceful should he be in full disclosure about Geithner's activity at the New York Fed?
He should be saying we believe in transparency, open this up, what we call it is an open source investigation, let the public see the emails, let journalists, investigative reporters, people parse through what that company was doing. There's no reason to protect it, none whatsoever. It is our tax dollars that paid the bonuses, our tax dollars that bailed out Goldman Sachs. 100 cents on the dollar, you refer to this, the counterparty payments, unbelievably improper, wrong decisions, most of us believe. Explain why they were made. Let's see what those communications were. When did Goldman understand that AIG was going down? Who knew what? Who communicated? From Lloyd Blankfein to Paulson to Geithner to Bernanke, these questions must be answered.
Okay, now the House Oversight Committee is going to get into this. They want Geithner to come over. Where is the potential criminal activity here? Now, I don't want to go too far with this, but I mean, the American people, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. Where would the potential criminal behavior
There's so many potential areas of criminality,
Yeah.
but let's not speculate wildly. The first area I would look at is to see when did the counterparties know that there was insufficient collateral at AIG to back up these credit default swaps? What did they then do with that information? And what did the folks at AIG, when they realized they had no collateral and they were incapable of making these payments do, did they sell additional credit default swaps? Did they defraud people whom they sold bad instruments? Did they lie to the public, make misleading statements to the marketplace, misleading statements to regulators? Every one of those dynamics is fraught with risk and danger. That's why we need to track the information, see who knew what when, and who said what when to other people in that chain of information flow.
Well, obviously, if you get the authors of the emails singing about who knew what and when, I mean, it just seems incredible that when you're dealing with billions of dollars like this, that the head of the New York Fed would not know that his regulators telling AIG to keep their mouth shut about what they're going to do with the money to buy toxic assets. I find that hard to believe.
It is shocking. And Ed, here's the other thing. When Tim Geithner was being confirmed, he said before the United States Senate, I have never been a regulator. When I heard him make that statement, I said, this guy didn't understand what his job was. He was the chief regulator of Wall Street, and yet he completely disavowed any regulatory capacity or obligation. That is when we should have known that his complete understanding, his fundamental misperception of the job then is what led us to this point in the cataclysm.
This is one thing the Obama administration does not need. Former
Absolutely
Governor of
not.
New York, Eliot Spitzer, with us tonight on The Ed Show. Thank you, Eliot.
Thank you, Ed. Have a good